William Morrow and Harper Audio present Passionista, the empowered woman's guide to pleasuring a man, previously published as He Comes Next. Written and read by Kerner.
Preface. The Woman on the Shaky Bridge. Warning: this book is not recommended for any woman with a fear of heights. Allow me to explain. If you ever happen to find yourself crossing the Capilano River in North Vancouver, Canada, you'll have two bridges to choose from. The first is definitely not for the faint of heart. A mere 5 feet wide and 450 feet long, the Capilano Canyon Suspension Bridge is constructed solely of plank and cable and sways perilously in the wind some 250 feet above the turbulent rocky tides, right out of a scene from Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. Your other choice? A solidly built anchored bridge that rests a mere 10 feet above sea level. In 1974, two well-known psychologists, Arthur Aaron and Donald Dutton, used these bridges as the focus of an ingenious experiment, one that sought to explore the mysterious nature of sexual attraction. It's informally dubbed the Shaky Bridge Study, but I like to refer to it as the If He So Desired test. The two-part experiment went something like this. On day one, whenever an unaccompanied man ventured across the shaky bridge, he would find himself stopped midway by a beautiful young woman. She would introduce herself as a psychology researcher and then proceed to ask if he would mind participating in a brief survey. On day two, the identical routine would be conducted by the same woman on the sturdy bridge. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? But there was a little twist. When each of the men completed the survey, the young woman would hand him her phone number and tell him that he was free to call her later that evening for the results, if he so desired. Unbeknownst to the subjects, the real study was not the answers the men gave on the survey, but what happened afterward. Aaron and Dutton set out to examine which of the men gave the pretty psychologist a call, and more importantly, why. In other words, they were interested in studying not just what happened on the bridge, but how that affected what happened later. They wanted to examine the rudiments of sexual desire, not merely the in-the-moment cause and reaction of talking to a pretty girl, but also how that first interaction evolved into a longer-term desire for extended contact. Would the excitement and exhilaration of being on the shaky bridge versus the more mundane experience of being on the solid bridge promote romantic attraction? In technical terms, Aaron and Dutton were testing a concept called misattribution, also known as excitation transfer theory. Lingering excitement from one situation, say walking across a shaky bridge versus a stable one, could intensify a subsequent emotional state, in this instance, recollection of the encounter with a beautiful psychologist. Or, to put it simply, does adrenaline make the heart grow fonder? The answer? Indeed it does. Not only did Aaron and Dutton find that the men on the shaky bridge were more likely than their stable bridge counterparts to call the woman later for the results of the survey, but they were also far more likely to ask her for a date. We'll come back to this experiment a little later when we talk about the roles excitement and novelty play in stimulating our brain's natural sex wiring, and I'll outline my shaky bridge approach to great sex. Don't worry, it doesn't involve getting it on while bungee jumping, though that probably wouldn't hurt, accidents notwithstanding. Based on my experience working with couples, it's my wholehearted conviction that beneath the layers of decorative linens that cover our conjugal beds, there lies a shaky bridge, ready and waiting for high-stakes action. Yet, most of us spend our sex lives on the stable, sturdy one, often without realizing it. As your friendly neighborhood sex therapist, I'm here to help you take a monumental leap across the crashing tides to reach that soaring, pendulous viaduct
Sample complete. Ready to continue?